Hey guys, I'm gonna wait for him to stop pulling. There you go. Redwood 91007 and Villa 29 here. Doing something pretty different. Something I would have liked to do a while ago. Start getting into some mix reviews. Unfortunately, we're using my webcam again just because I don't have too much space on my phone, like the other review that's gonna be uploaded soon, before or after this. I'm not really sure. So yeah, mix. This is a very classic mix. I would say classic. It was created on Hookah Pro by a member. I don't remember exactly who. Sorry if you're seeing this. It was before my time.
What a dick.
Yeah. Anyway, this is the Scab mix. Very good mix. Mix of these two bad boys, which is Nakhla Double Apple. Sorry, I said it like an American. And Nakhla Zag. If you want to see the cuts or more about these flavors individually, we have reviews up on both, of course. But this one is pretty much more or less a 50-50 mix of both. I did it by eye, so it's probably off a little bit, but it's more or less there. It's been going for like 15 minutes now out of my Egyptian bowl with 3 coconaras. And yeah, it's smoking well. Zag on its own doesn't produce big clouds, but the Double Apple has some nice dense ones. And we're actually getting very equivalent sized clouds to Double Apple, which is nice. Yeah, you know what, I'll take the hose and you can give your opinion first and we'll bring it back.
Yeah, he allowed me to take a sniff of it in the bowl before we put it in. Obviously, we have to get it smoking, so couldn't show you it in the bowl, but you know the point, just Zag and Double Apple mixed together. I found the Double Apple is a lot more overwhelming in the scent in the bowl than the Zag is.
For sure.
Maybe just, yeah.
For sure, you pick up the anise and the Double Apple kind of masks the Zag, and the Zag just adds to it in the smell. Yeah.
And that came through when we started smoking, actually, in the taste. I found the Double Apple a lot more overwhelming than the Zag. Then the Zag kind of came through in my throat a little more, but I find now the Zag's becoming a little more prominent on the smoking.
I feel like the Zags need to get some more heat to it before the flavor really came through. Zag is much more heat resistant than Double Apple. Nakhla as a brand is very heat resistant, but Zag even more so.
Yeah.
So yeah, now that it's picked up, it's good. Some pulls more than others. I'm getting more Zag. I don't know why. It might just be that part is getting baked a little bit more than others, and whatever. Yeah. But it's the way I mixed it. By the way, some people ask. I just filled up half the bowl of Double Apple, the other half was Zag, eyed it, took it out, shook up my hand so it was very evenly mixed, packed it back in. Very light, dense pack on it, just below the rim. And foil, of course.
I find through the taste, it's a little more luck of the draw of what you're going to get first, what you're going to get second. So sometimes when I was doing it before, you get Double Apple and then Zag and then Double Apple, which is good. It's a nice little mix-up in your mouth.
Yeah.
I prefer the Double Apple coming through secondary because I like that feel. I like that taste staying in my mouth. The Zag's a very good taste. I'm not putting it down or anything like that, but it's just that side of the coin that I prefer.
I'm actually the opposite. I think I prefer the Zag taste a little bit more than the Double Apple taste. So I like getting a very slight hint of anise along with the nice apple on the inhale, and a little bit on the exhale, but then the Zag is lingering, and that's just really nice when the Zag sticks to your palate, and it's real good. Let's see. On the inhale, like I said, it's always different for some reason. Even though it's very evenly mixed, it's not, you know, for a few pulls here, a few pulls there, it'll change around a bit. But it's always a nice mix. These two flavors complement each other very well. The Zag just adds a really nice black leaf undertone to the Double Apple, which is really great.
As we said in our Double Apple review, Double Apple review, we love it, but sometimes the taste can become a little overwhelming if you oversmoke it, and sometimes you want to switch it up. Obviously, with the Zag mixed in there, it kind of brings it down a notch, which isn't a bad thing, and also it complements it very well.
Yeah, I mean, I love smoking both on their own, but mixing them is a whole other experience. One thing I'd like to add is the buzz is real good. The Zag buzz is, in my opinion, stronger than the Double Apple one, which some people find will kick them right in the ass. But the mix is perfect, nice relaxing buzz. Very, very typical of a good Nakhla buzz. It's right on with that. So I'm really enjoying the smoke. You know, do you have anything to add about the flavor before we jump into ratings?
No, we covered most of it.
I think so.
To jump into ratings, I would give this probably a 9 on 10. It's a really interesting mix, and I like the change up of the taste on your palate. It's a very good taste as is, and I like the fact that it brings the double apple down a notch, which is very good. And I like the clouds. The clouds are always good to get, especially if you're just smoking Zag. Zag's a good taste, but like I enjoy having clouds, something to mess around with while you're smoking. So that's a good added bonus of it.
Okay. I agree with the rating, actually. 9 on 10 for me is perfect. Smoke this all the time for sure. It's also very easy to mix. There are two flavors that most Nakhla smokers or most, experienced smokers almost will have in their stash. Beginner smokers, if they're going into Nakhla, might have the double apple, but the Zag generally, it more or less always comes a bit later, just from my experience anyways and people I've spoken to. But if you do have both of these, by all means, mix them. They lend, like I said, very well to each other, and you should definitely try it. 9 on 10. Your reasons were very similar to mine. It just offers a nice change from the strong, anise heavy flavor of the double apple on its own, and adds some nice clouds to the Zag. And sometimes Zag on its own, even though it's a great flavor, I find even though it has a lot of different tastes to it, and you can pick up so many different levels, it's just a nice addition to it. I wouldn't smoke this all the time. I like to smoke each one on its own.
Yeah.
But it's something special, and definitely like throwing this in the bowl every once in a while. It's been a long time since I've done this, actually. Several months, well, a long time. But yeah, anyways, so 9 on 10, definitely. I've never heard anyone speak poorly of this, but then again, that's from a lot of people who like both of these flavors on their own, including us. We like both of them. So if you don't like the double apple because it's anise heavy, you don't like that licorice taste, but you do like Zag, mix it. If you find Zag to be a little bit boring, even though it's really not, throw some double apple in there. Like I said, you can fool around with the ratio. 50-50 is just the way it was created, and how I was told to do it, basically, and it works fine. But it'd be nice to fool around, maybe, like even like a 90-10 ratio, Zag to double apple, just a little bit of anise in there would be great. So yeah, that's all we really got for this one. I don't want to go too much into it besides what we already have. I'd like you guys to try this. Everyone should try this. 9 on 10 again. HookahPro.com, of course, where I found this, is your ultimate source for everything hookah.
Stay tuned.